Hello everybody, it's the Worm, and welcome back to Steins Gate. Picking up right where we left off. We learned about Moeka's past a little bit, and honestly, well, it definitely went a direction I thought it could go. It's just... well, let's just do a quick recap for you on that one. So it turns out that Moeka, she's a young girl who, for whatever reason, doesn't seem to have a family or any kind of social life, and she's apparently pretty anxious and can't deal with people, and so she's anxious, no family, no social life, and had previously attempted suicide, and at her lowest point, she was, I guess, randomly somehow targeted by some email spam that turned out to be a legitimate offer to join a secret organization. Yeah. And so then that organization, I'm not sure, I don't know if it's random or if they specifically target people like Moeka. Because I don't know. The gunman she was with, I'm not sure if they would be, if they're in the exact same situation as her. So I don't know exactly how that whole thing came about. So I don't know if they intentionally did this or not, but it seems like FB, or whichever person or entity was FB, played upon her desperate need for some sort of connection, and thus she became a willing slave, I guess, essentially, and would do anything and everything, up and including murder, for this person and or entity. So yeah. I mean, that's just sad. I'm not sure if I was necessarily hoping for something like what I said before, which was, some kind of mind control technology. Rather, it's just, no, Moeka was just a broken person, and then someone took advantage of that and turned her into a criminal at the least, but monster at the worst, as we've seen. So yeah, the plan now, I guess, is to try and find out who or what FB is, because I think it might have been a bit implied that FB could be... we just have no idea who FB is. So it could... Moeka seemed to think of it as a woman, a kind of almost motherly character. But, I'm not sure if the person who was behind FB was purposefully trying to play up that angle, or if Moeka was merely projecting that sort of character onto FB. I'm not sure we got enough of FB's actual emails to know for sure. And because it's still a bit vague, at least to me, FB could be anyone. It could be a man or a woman. I don't know if they necessarily need to be even in Japan. Kind of going back to what I said a bit just a moment ago. She said that FB has a sort of motherly character to them, but from what we were told, FB would send messages like, the example that we got with the IBN 5100 was, drop off the IBN at the designated point. That doesn't sound very motherly. It sounds very matter-of-fact. So that's what's sort of leading me to think, well, is it just Moeka adding those characteristics to FB, or are there more emails that we just haven't seen that, has those characteristics? So yeah, I don't know how we begin to find FB. And the reason we're looking for FB is because that's the only way we're going to get Moeka to stop looking for the IBN, is if we can impersonate FB, send a message to Moeka in the past, and then FB will follow it. So I'm thinking, again, I think it's very unlikely that we're going to find out who FB is. Well, there's that, and then there's getting their phone. I doubly don't expect that. So I'm thinking we may have to try to find some sort of workaround, some other way to impersonate FB. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. And it looks like we are going to the coin lockers. That was the designated place for the IBN, so I don't know, maybe Okabe is thinking may as well check it, just in case. So let's go ahead and continue on and see where the story takes us. It's midnight, and Akiba is practically empty. The silence is eerie. There's no sign of anyone near the coin locker. Considering the IBN 5100's size, it couldn't fit inside the regular-sized lockers. Office of Redundancy Office. So, she must have put it in one of the 3 large lockers on the right. The light's on. The bottom locker is still in use. Is the IBN 5100 inside? Okay, you know what? There's something else I want to talk about. And I mentioned it, I think, 2 episodes ago. I think. And it's... we're not exactly clear what... It's not exactly clear to me what Moeka's position actually was in the Rounders Association or corporation or whatever they are. And so I'm a bit confused with this situation a little bit. That being, why would Moeka just be abandoned like this? And I think I said something like this previously, where it's, you have an asset, someone who is willing to move around Japan and find these IBNs for you, and we know that she's trusted enough to lead a group of mercenaries and take action herself. We've seen that when she raids the lab. That would at least indicate to me that she is given a certain amount of trust. Well, I don't know. I mean, it's not going to be something like FB said, "Hey, go steal this IBN," and then Moeka somehow on her own volition and with her own resources went and hired mercenaries. We're thinking it was all the Rounders, right? And then Moeka was just put in charge, right? So clearly Moeka isn't some scrub to them, right? At least that's what I would think. And yet, the moment she finds one IBN, she's tossed aside. It's a bit of an odd thing. I mean, it's not like... It wouldn't be something weird like CERN knows exactly how many IBNs they have, or that are in existence, and so this was the last one, and once they found it, oh, we don't need the Rounders anymore, so just cut them off, I guess. I don't think that's the case. So I don't know, it just seems strange to me. Plus, she knows about the Rounders and about CERN, and about their mission. Why would you suddenly just take I mean, did they know about Moeka so well that they knew, oh, she's just going to commit suicide once we let her go? and thus just sort of leave it to chance that she would never tell anyone about her mission or the organization she was a part of. I don't know, just some strange things I feel about this situation. I don't know. I don't know if any of that's going to get revealed to us later on. It just strikes me as a bit odd, and I just wanted to get that out of the way before moving forward, because that was something I mentioned I was curious to know about, or, you know, before we had the whole confrontation with Moeka. Alright, let's continue. Is the IBN 5100 inside? My heart starts pounding in my chest. I feel my face grow hot with excitement. We've been apart for far too long, my partner, but now only a thin locker door separates us. Is this what love feels like? Let's not go crazy. I force myself to consider the situation calmly. Is the IBN 5100 really inside? I want to check right this instant. I can't believe I forgot to ask Moeka which locker she used. Should I get a crowbar or something to pry the locker open? If the IBN 5100 really is inside and I steal it, what will happen to the world line? I have yet to cancel all the D-mails, which I thought was the only way to restore the original world line. But now the IBN 5100's so close. Why can't I just reach out and take it? I know how to cancel Moeka's D-mail, so I can always do that if this doesn't work. Let's try it, just to make sure. First, I make a quick visit to the lab. Ignoring the complaints of the lab mems who stayed awake in the lab all night, I retrieve a makeshift crowbar from the development room. Inside our lab's development room, we have a large pile of junk that we picked up from all over the town or inherited from our predecessors. Naturally, we could easily find something like a crowbar in there. Naturally. I then return to the lockers and thrust the pointed tip of the crowbar into the crack of the door. Wow. Okay. We didn't get any police while we were, straddling a, young woman, but right when you try to go for the locker, that's when they get you. Just as I begin to pry, a shrill siren shatters the night. I look up to see the red lights of a patrol car coming this way. Their timing couldn't be worse. The police released me after about 30 minutes of scolding. Wow, really? That's it? That is... I return to the coin locker to try to pry it open again. Immediately, another patrol car appears. This time, they take me to the police station. Yeah. Wow. I'm surprised they didn't take you the first time. I'm stuck in an interrogation room all night, getting preached to by policemen. I conclude that this is another effect of attractor field convergence. No matter what I do, I cannot obtain an IBN 5100 on this world line. That is what fate has decreed. Man, I'm not sure that I like this whole fate has decreed business. That's whack. I get the police to call my father, and they finally release me. Oh my goodness, a mention of Okabe's father. Yeah, I knew he mentioned his family before, but it's been a long time. Ugh. They didn't go so far as to arrest me, but the policeman, as well as my father, scold me harshly. I act apologetic, but in actuality, their words fall on deaf ears. Yeah, it is interesting to me. I mean, I know everyone's family is going to be different, right? So I think I can understand that. It's just me personally. I feel like I don't know, especially after the sort of stuff Okabe's been through and all the madness. I feel like I'd at least call my parents and be like, do something like, "Hey guys, what's going on? How are you?" Just, you know, I'm lucky, right? I guess in the case of that, I have a good relationship with my parents, so After going through so much madness and craziness, I'd at least want to say, just for a bit of, like normalcy, I'd call and say, hey guys, how things back home? I probably wouldn't tell them about all the time travel stuff, but I'd say something like, man, I've had a stressful few weeks, it's been a lot. It's just interesting to me that he's not sort of mentioned them at all. And it's just probably not relevant to the story, but I mean, we hear about them right now. At least his father. Okay, after my father goes home, I head straight to Moeka's apartment. I tried calling her. I took the opportunity to memorize her phone number yesterday, but she wouldn't pick up at all. Before I get there, I send a mail to Daru asking him to check if the coin locker is still occupied. The door to Moeka's apartment is unlocked. I find Moeka hugging her knees in the corner, just like she was when I first found her.
IBN5100 を入れたのは右下のコインロッカーで合っているか?
You put the IBN 5100 in the bottom right locker, correct?
なぜ?
How?
IBN5100 が入る大きさのロッカーがあそこには3つしかなかった。そのうち一番下のみが使用中。
One second, Moeka. Daru. Daru found it. Checked. The big locker on the lower right is in use. What's this about anyway? Don't make me your errand boy so early in the morning. Angry emoticon. Out of all the lockers, only 3 could hold the IBN 5100. Out of those 3, only the bottom one was in use. Wow, that really... If it really is in that locker, that's pretty crazy. It's a... What is it? So close and yet so far sort of situation? Wow.
もしお前が一番下に入れたというなら、FB はまだ IBN5100 を回収していないことになる。
That's pretty crazy too. They ask her to put it in a designated place. And how long has it been? It's been... I think at this point it's the 12th. So it was on the 31st, right? So it's been almost 2 weeks. They haven't picked it up yet. Yeah, if that's the one you use, then FB hasn't picked it up yet.
この意味がわかるか?
Do you know what that means? Moeka frowns.
あそこに貼っていれば FB が回収しに来た時に会えるということだ。
Would it really be FB? How many rounders are there? What kind of organization is this? Okay, it means that if we stake out the locker, you'll get to meet FB. It's not gonna be someone we know, right? How is this gonna go?
その発想はなかったか? ラウンダーのくせに冷静さが欠けているぞ、お前。
It hadn't occurred to you. Some secret agent you are.
俺は張り込んでみようと思う。お前は?
I'm headed there now. You coming?
会ってどうするの?
What will you do if you meet her?
FB に携帯を借りる。
Borrow her phone. That's the best way to prevent Moeka from going to Yanabayashi Shrine.
会えない。会う勇気ない。幻滅される。
I can't meet her. I'm too afraid. The real me could never live up to her expectations.
お前はとっくに幻滅されているか。最初から期待すらされていなかった。
Something tells me her expectations were never that high to begin with. Moeka's face contorts again. I'm being blunt, not only because Moeka is Mayuri's murderer, but also because Moeka's weakness is starting to get on my nerves. Just like Daru's mail said, the locker is still unoccupied. Excuse me. That is the exact opposite. Just like Daru's mail said, the locker is still occupied when I get there. I look around to make sure there are no patrol cars. No crowbars this time. I don't feel like getting arrested. I head across the street to Daibiru, hide behind one of the humongous pillars, and begin the stakeout. My legs are getting tired. I was going to borrow Mayuri's portable game console, but I decided I didn't need the distraction. Still, it's pretty tough to keep standing like this. I also need to stay inconspicuous. Someone might notice if they see me standing in the same place for hours. I wouldn't want a security guard to give me trouble. I mean, I guess there's not much to worry about that. I've already been here for 7 hours without incident. My legs are numb, so I squat and lean against the pillar. So hungry. I'd love to go get some food, but I can't take my eyes off the locker. Just then, somebody taps me on the shoulder. FB? I try to leap to my feet, but my legs get tangled and I fall over. Moeka. Hello there. Moeka is standing there, looking down at me with those glassy eyes.
Oh my. なんでここに?
What are you doing here?
私も張り込みを
I'll keep watch too.
ダメかな
Is that okay?
なぜ心変わりした?
Why the change of heart? I stand up and dust off my clothes.
お前は FB とのメールだけの関係に居心地の良さを感じていた。その適度な距離感に依存していたはず。
You were comfortable with your male-only relationship, weren't you? I thought you wanted to maintain that distance.
なのになぜ今さら一歩を踏み出そうと思った?
So, what made you decide to risk a meeting?
このままじゃ
At this rate, Moeka puts her head on her knees. She looks ready to cry. I've seen that expression once before, in her moonlit apartment.
FB からの連絡がなくなったら私世界とのつながりが
If I lose contact with FB, I'll lose my connection.
断絶されるか?
To the world? Moeka nods faintly.
孤独に耐えられないくらい弱いのに FB の命令さえあれば容赦なく人も殺せるとはな。
You can't bear to be alone yourself. Yet you'd end an innocent girl's life because some person you've never met told you so.
典型的な狂信者だよお前は。
Told you too. Excuse me. A cultist. That's what you are. And her cult leader, FB, abused her weakness before throwing her out like old clothes. What do you think FB stands for now that I've just thought about it? Federal Bureau. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm trying to think, is there anyone with the initials FB that we know? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know. It pisses me off. FB's cruelty, Moeka's weakness. I can't decide which I hate more. Then Moeka nervously brings out a convenience store bag.
なんだこれは?
What's this? Instead of answering, Moeka looks away. I look inside.
おお、パックの牛乳とアンパン。
Whoa, milk and bean buns. Exactly what you need on a stakeout. There's enough for two.
もしかして差し入れか?
You brought this for me? Moeka nods.
よし、許可する。お前も張り込みを手伝え。
Very well. You may join the stakeout. Now we can take turns watching, and we'll look less suspicious to passers-by. It's past midnight, and still no sign of FB. We nap in 1-hour shifts, but it doesn't help the exhaustion. On top of that, I don't have anyone to talk to. Moeka can't keep the conversation going, so there's nothing I can do to stave off boredom. I went back to the lab to shower just before dawn, but Karisu, who was working an all-nighter on the time leap machine, just glared at me. The wait finally ends at just after 1 p.m. on the 13th. Someone comes to open the lower right locker. We watch from behind the pillar. Okay. Who in the world could it be? Is it just gonna be a random new person? It's a nondescript middle-aged man. He's dressed in a new suit, but it rings rather poorly on him, as if he's not used to wearing it. Is that FB? Moeka shakes her head firmly.
FB は女性よ。
FB is a woman.
となると雇われて回収しに来た人間かもしれない。
So, maybe she hired someone to pick it up? Or could it be someone from the locker company here to clear it after weeks overdue? That would make us all idiots. Moeka, FB, and me. The man has the key to the locker. He pays the late fee with 100 yen coins, then removes the cardboard box with the IBN 5100 inside. The man thought ahead and brought a pushcart. He puts the IBN 5100 onto the pushcart, and with a bit of effort, he begins walking away. Follow him. The man heads straight for Akihabara Station. Strangely enough, he walks up to an overweight man standing in front of the ticket machine. The overweight man is wearing a t-shirt and has all the signs of an otaku. He doesn't seem to have anything in common with the first guy, who looks like an average businessman. They transfer the IBN 5100 into the overweight man's suitcase. Okay, this is getting stranger. After that, they exchange a few words. The overweight man enters the station alone, then the guy in the suit leaves. Weird. What was the purpose of that transfer? Is the overweight man FB? Or is he just another link in some kind of chain? At any rate, if we keep following the IBN 5100, we should reach FB eventually. We enter the station. The overweight man boards the Yamanote line. We board the next car and keep watch through the connecting door. It's a weekday afternoon, so there aren't many passengers. 30 minutes later, we arrive at Shinjuku Station. Here, the train sees a sharp increase in passenger traffic. He's getting off. Moeka pulls on my sleeve. The overweight man has slipped into the stream of departing passengers. He's about to exit onto the platform. We follow him, but due to our slow reaction, we have to push our way through the boarding passengers. Okay, the train doors close and slowly departs. The man starts walking toward the exit. Shinjuku is crowded, so we have to follow close behind or we'll lose him. But then I stop in my tracks. The man is empty-handed. His suitcase is missing. What? For a second, I think we followed the wrong man, but no, it's definitely him. We watched him the whole time he was on the train. There's no doubt he had the suitcase when the train arrived at Shinjuku. Could he have passed it to someone else in this crowd? Clever. They know how to lose a tail. Oh, wow. Okay, I return to the lab and leap an hour back. I find myself inside the train. I know it's bad manners to use my phone on the train, but this is an emergency. According to the train's display, we're about to leave Otsuka for Ikebukuro. 3 stops to Shinjuku. Moeka is next to me, acting inconspicuous. I peek at the overweight man in the next car.
新宿駅で仕掛けてくるぞ。
They'll make their move at Shinjuku.
あの男、降りたと見せかけて、荷物を別の人間に受け渡す。
That guy is gonna get off, but he actually hands the package to someone else.
さっきはまんまと引っかかったな。
He got us good just now.
さっき
Just now? Doesn't look like Moeka's caught on yet.
俺は1時間後からタイムリープしてきたんだ。
I just time leaped from an hour in the future.
タイムリープ
Time leaped? Moeka's eyes widen. The train arrives at Shinjuku on schedule. Just to make sure, I'll have Moeka follow the man when he gets off. Before the doors open, I stealthily move to his car. He still has a suitcase with the IBN 5100.
新宿新宿
Now arriving at Shinjuku. The doors open and passengers spew out. The overweight man leaves too, just like last time. However,
やはり
I knew it. He leaves the suitcase on the train. And now passengers from Shinjuku board. Someone walks up to the abandoned suitcase. It's a woman in her 30s pushing a baby stroller. There's no baby. The woman casually loads the suitcase into her stroller and sits down. After witnessing that scene, I return to the neighboring car. I need to be careful. These guys are serious about avoiding pursuit. The train starts moving. I contact Moeka so we can regroup later. After that incident, the package swaps couriers like a hot potato, snaking around the tracks that run through Tokyo like a web. Whenever they give me the slip, I time leap and resume the chase. Finally, the courier and the package get aboard the Hibiya line and head towards Akihabara Station, where it all began. I recognize the last courier. He's one of the men who raided the lab with Moeka. Dark skin, crew cut, the one who hit me with his gun. The man easily carries the 25-kilo package out of the station. We follow. A car honks its horn. Moeka and I immediately hide. Peering out from cover, I see a white flatbed parked in front of the station. A muscular man hops out of the driver's seat.
Huh?
What? Get out of town. What do you mean? One second. Okay, I'm back. I had to take a break. I had to stand up, stretch my legs, get a drink. What do you mean? What do you mean? What? What? What do you mean, Mr. Braun? How, why, where, who, what, when, why? Who, where, what? Are you the reason there's a fiber optic cable under the lab? Is that you? Was it all a setup? What's the deal here, man? Don't look at me like that. What does this mean? I mean, you know, as I was thinking about it, you know, I said earlier, is it someone we know? Because I can't imagine they would, well, I don't actually know how far I am in the story, but I know that if you're, well, at least one convention I know of in certain stories where there's mystery is if there's something like an antagonist or a villain, you shouldn't wait until when you're near the end to introduce them. Should be someone you know about clearly. And so it would be weird if they just introduced an entirely new character out of nowhere. At least a little bit. But him? Really? I mean, it's kind of funny. Like, Suzuha got a job at the the CRT shop. She got a job there as kind of cover so she could be where the lab is. Is that him too? Is that Mr. Braun's plan too? He set up that CRT workshop as cover to be there for when we got there? How deep does this go? Are you a Rounders guy? Are you FB? Or are you a CERN guy? What's the deal here? And is she on it? Is she in on it? Your daughter? Is she FB? It must have been her. She's the mastermind. When she pushed Mayuri in the station, the train, she was in on it. It wasn't an accident at all. Oh my goodness, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. It was the Braun family the whole time. Ugh. Maybe I'm going too far. We don't know yet. Maybe one of the Rounders is a friend of his and asked him to borrow his truck. Could be something like that, you know? It could be something innocuous. Maybe he's not a big bad. So FB must stand for Father Braun, of course. Okay, let's just continue on. Okay, I know that face. No, it can't be. I desperately try to organize my thoughts. That's Tenoji Yugo, owner of the Braun Tube Workshop. Mr. Braun. Why? Why is he here? Does this mean he's connected to FB? To the Rounders? Was the Braun Tube Workshop just a front for CERN? Is that how he could afford to keep it open? What's going on here? His shop is right below the lab. If he's working for the enemy, then... I shiver at the thought. Stop. Let's not rush to conclusions. He might just be another courier. We watch from a distance. Tenoji takes the suitcase from the crew-cut man and loads it into the back seat of his car. Then he gets into the car alone and takes off towards Shoadori. I stare after it in disbelief. What the heck is, what is his daughter's name? Why can't I remember. One second. Let me check that. Okay. It's Nai. Okay, her name is Nai. Nai's in on it too. I just know she is. She's the mastermind. Okay, I time leap several hours before the first man arrived at the coin locker. Then I explained the situation to Moeka. My plan is to get ahead of the package. After killing some time at Star Bex, we rent a car. I don't have a license, so Moeka's driving. We go to the street in front of the roundabout, facing Shoadori, and park near Yodobashi Camera. Now we wait. Yeah, I think I've referred to Moeka as young girl a few times. I know she's meant to be older than Okabe. It's kind of hard for me to tell based on just the illustrations. I mean, from the artwork, it looks like she could be about the same age as the rest of them. I could see late teens, early 20s. So, I can't remember if she ever said exactly how old she was. Alright, let's just continue on. What is the, how old do you have to be to drive in Japan? I don't know. Nervous?
肩に力が入りすぎているぞ。運転歴はどれぐらいだ？
You look terrified. How long have you been driving?
ペーパー
First time.
ペーパードライバーということか。勘弁してくれ。事故るなよ。
What? This is your first time? Oh, come on. Just don't crash. I'm surprised Moeka has a license in the first place. Apparently, FB told her it would come in handy for her rounder work. I have Moeka wait in the car while I keep a lookout on the roundabout. The white station wagon's already stopped there. From this distance, I can clearly see Tennoji in the driver's seat. Nobody else is riding. The crew cut guy should arrive just after 5 p.m. As expected, the crew cut man arrives right on time, effortlessly dragging the suitcase behind him. He should have just walked up and said, "Hey, Mr. Braun, what's going on?" It feels weird seeing the exact same scene from a different angle. I hurry back to the car where Moeka's waiting.
来るぞ。
He's coming. The station wagon rolls past us. It takes a left turn at the Showadori intersection towards Okachimachi. Moeka smoothly sets the car in motion. Finally, we arrive at Tennoji's house in Okachimachi. This is the house where Suzuha lived. Her rusty old mountain bike is still sitting out front. Tennoji brings the IBN 5100 inside. We stop a little farther down the road and keep watch.
どういうこと？
What does this mean?
FB はどこ？
Where is FB?
あの家に運び込んだことが何を意味するかだ。一時的な保管場所ということなのか。それとも。
The question is why he brought it inside. Is he just holding on to it, or is he FB? Does he know FB? Moeka insists that FB is a woman. So maybe it's Tennoji's wife, whom I've never met? I don't know. The impression I got over time was that Tennoji's wife was no longer in the picture. I don't know why I have that impression exactly, but I'm not sure if she was necessarily dead or just not in their lives, but I mean, maybe she could still be around, I don't know. I have Moeka show me one of FB's mails. Okay, this is, I wanted to see this. I wanted to see more examples of the FB's emails. FB, sorry for not being useful. M4, it's true that you're not very good with people, but I think that's just part of what makes you unique and special. Besides, you have no trouble talking to me, do you? Honestly, M4, there's... Okay, yeah. Okay. Can I... Oh, yeah, I can scroll. Honestly, M4, there's nobody else who works as hard as you do. I'm very thankful for that. I'm glad you joined the Rounders, even if nobody else values you. I'll always look out for you. Feel free to email me whenever you like. Oh yes, since you're finally in Nagoya, you should try some of the local delicacies. It's not good for your health if you keep eating convenience store food. Or do you not like miso, M4? In any case, a girl your age needs to eat better. I recommend the firm miso stew. Your next mission is to go to Akihabara in Tokyo. So find an apartment by next week. I deposited a special bonus in your account, so feel free to use it. Talk to you soon. Your mother, FB. Okay. So this is something I said at the beginning, where, you know, was it Moeka just put the motherly characteristics on FB by herself, or was FB actively utilizing it, you know, himself or herself? Were they actively putting that impression in there? Okay, that's very obvious. It is very clearly doing that on purpose. Gotcha. Good to know. She kept a lot of mails archived like this one.
M4 というのが私のコードネーム。
M4 is my code name.
それも FB がつけてくれた。
FB gave it to me. Moeka's a mailing machine. She sent FB nearly 10 mails a day, but FB replied to every single one. You'd have to be a saint to reply to all those emails. No wonder Moeka was so dependent on FB.
今度はここで張り込みだな。
So, time for another stakeout. I have Daru set up a wireless infrared camera on the telephone pole down the street. What? I beg your pardon? We park a couple blocks away and watch the video feed. Okay, so this is just something he can do. Alright. The next day, Tanoji goes to work on his moped like usual. He returns after sunset. There's no sign of his daughter, Nai, or his wife. Something finally happens early Sunday morning. Just before 3 a.m., 6 people show up at Tanoji's house.
あれは
It's them. It's dark, but I recognize them. They are the Rounders who raided the lab with Moeka. Moeka doesn't show much of a reaction. I thought she knew them. I ask, but she says she's never met them before. Looks like this Worldline's Moeka has been cut off completely. Were they done with her once she found them in IBN 5100? Tanoji comes outside and loads the IBN 5100 into the station wagon. Then the 6 men get in and drive away. Tanoji sees them off, then goes back inside his house.
今度はどこへ？
What now? I'm interested in Tanoji's story, but the IBN 5100 will lead us to FB. We decide to follow the station wagon. Wow. I feel adrift. I feel lost. I feel strange. I don't know how to... Maybe I should just stop there. I mean, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna take a break and keep going anyway. But I think I should stop there in terms of recording. Yeah, okay, we're gonna... I'm gonna leave it off there for now. Okay. Just wait. It'll actually be something innocuous, like one of the Rounders is just a friend of his by chance, and he helped them load it onto the thing. But if it's not something innocuous, how widespread is this Rounders network that they have all these couriers? Are they just... I mean, they seem to be random people. I mean, is it the case similar to Moeka, where they just send it to random people? I mean, it looks like Moeka actually got paid for what she was doing. So maybe it's just a sort of random side job thing where they send the message out to people and people have varying amounts of information about what they're doing, and it's just sort of like an odd job sort of thing. Like, hey, we need you to take this package and put it here. And yet, Moeka knew a lot about sort of CERN and all that whole deal. Right? Didn't she? Maybe I need to look at that That one scene where we ambushed her and sort of interrogated her at gunpoint. Maybe I need to watch that again. Ugh, I'm so confused. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop now. All right, I've been the Worm. This has been Steins Gate. Things are getting crazier. I'm really curious where this is gonna end up. Really curious. In any case, I hope you're all doing all right, and I hope to see you next time. Alrighty, goodbye.